Mrs. Jones, I called you because your husband squatted a situation at home today while you were out with your friends. He was mowing and collapsed and died. Your neighbors called the fire department and the paramedics got him back, but we both know with his cancer he cannot survive this. He and you had written the DNR before this, and I feel we should honor his wishes and let him go. You have to give us approval since the paramedics got him back.
Where is my husband? What happened to him?
As I just said, your husband collapsed at home, was revived by the paramedics and brought in. I am afraid with his advanced cancer he cannot survive this, and we should follow the wishes of his DNR. It is what you and he had agreed on.
I do not want to follow the DNR. I always thought that was just Scott being weak. You have to do what I say because I am the power of attorney. You have to keep him alive.
Mrs. Jones, we are doing everything we can, but his cancer is very advanced and he had stated he did not want to be on the ventilator. You agreed with him before. What has changed?
Nothing has changed. I hated the idea before and hate it more now. I know you want him to die, but I want him to live.
Mrs. Jones, I do not want to see Scott die either, but the reality of the situation is he cannot survive this incident. If we continue this route, we are denying him the right to choose. This is a basic right every person has. Would you deny him the choice?
Do not talk to me about denying him. I know my rights. You have to do what I say and there is nothing you can do about it. Did you not learn about this in nurse practitioner school?
Yes, Mrs. Jones. I assure you we learned about situations like this in school. I just never thought I would see one in this case, and it has surprised me. I understand you do not want to lose your husband, but you have to understand that it is also against the law for us to not honor his wishes as well. Patients have the right to choose their end-of-life care, and Scott had written the DNR before this event. This means the hospital has to think about his wishes also. I understand you are the power of attorney, but the government has laws protecting the patient also.
I will sue this hospital and you if you stop trying to keep Scott alive.
Mrs. Jones, we will only stop keeping Scott alive when we get you to agree that this is the best course of action.
Then you will never stop.
Mrs. Jones, try to understand that the laws are quite clear. If we are doing nothing to further harm your husband, we can stop treatment in the state of Washington with no fear of being sued. This is not a threat, it is just information for you. The laws are very clear, organized, supported by each other, and make sense. It is very important for us to understand that the patient has rights even in this situation. The problem, of course, is we do not want to offend you.
I am not trying to be difficult, I just want Scott to live. It is not my intention to deny him his rights, I just am afraid to try to go on without him.
That is completely understandable, Mrs. Jones. None of us want to see Scott die, but in this instance we cannot really help him and should let him go. I understand that he was brought back by the paramedics and this confused everything. I understand that you were not there when it happened and this upsets you also. I also understand you thought there would be more time. Unfortunately, there is not. Scott had a DNR in place, and the best thing for both of us is to let him go.
Stop saying that. Hearing it over and over again does not make my thinking any easier. How do you make these decisions for other patients?
In school we learned to think about these types of things. We have developed guidelines to help us with these decisions. They come down to seeing something has happened that needs a decision from us as nurse practitioners, deciding what course of action is the best in the situation, deciding what to do, and finally acting on the behalf of our patient. We further learned to analyze all information logically, look out for outside influences forcing our decisions, and ultimately help everyone involved into the best patient decision. Right now there is an ethical conflict related to you choosing to keep Scott alive on the machines when this is not what he wants. What should we do in this case for Scott?
I am glad you have talked to me about this. I am sorry I snapped at you earlier. It is just I am not ready for Scott to die. I do understand though that it is his choice and I am just being selfish at this point. I love him enough to let him die since that was his choice. Thank you for helping me see the right way.
The decision was for Scott. I am glad to have helped you come to the decision that is best for him.